Welcome back to Exquisitely Aligned, where we empower you to express your finest self, living life on your own terms, making your even bigger impact, the one that only you can make, and helping others in a way that is even more fulfilling and energizing. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to Donna Fairhurst. Donna says, challenge refines you or defines you. And at Exquisitely Aligned, we give a voice to this all the time, but I'm going to read some pretty powerful stuff. So, surviving and thriving, a journey through blindness, polio, divorce, bankruptcy, and multiple yo-yo to God near-death experiences. Empowers Donna Fairhurst to live and teach zero to clarity principles. Pivot powerfully from nowhere to now here. From nowhere to now here. Human being versus human doing is a choice. Choose to be now here. That is so beautifully stated. I apologize. I butchered it a little bit here and there. But Donna, you are an amazing soul. We're just now meeting. But yes, I have goosebumps to have you here with me. I am honored. And I'm just going to read that list to you again, because if you're listening, I want you to really run through what is your biggest thing that is driving you crazy today? For me, I've been through hell with my husband's health and then some other crazy things that were out of our control. But I just want to read you her list here. And I just want to say, I think that when we meet people like Donna, we can put other things into perspective. And that's what I love having a podcast, because I just want to give a voice for a moment, okay? Polio. Sorry, let's see if my phone cooperates now. No, it's not going to cooperate. So, blindness, polio, divorce, bankruptcy, and multiple yo-yo to God near-death experiences. I mean, just think about one of those things, right? We probably know somebody who's been through a divorce. It might have been us. I'm not wearing my ring because I had to have it cut off before my shoulder surgery, but I am still married, even though the ring is not on. But any one of those things put us in a place where we have that opportunity to choose. And Donna, I just read your list and it's mind-boggling. I mean, part of me is very sad, but I see your beautiful face and you're glowing from the inside out. So it's that sadness then shifts to just being thrilled, because I say those times can be frightening, but we have the opportunity to choose to be enlightened. So I'd love to hear your story.
Well, I've lived large and I've lived a lot. I feel like I've had 7 lifetimes in this one, or that many lifetimes are overlapping.
Yes.
I didn't have just one divorce. I had 2. And I had 2 Mr. Also Rans in between, Mr. Perfect finding me. So, I wrote the book on dysfunctional relationship, and then I rewrote the book on how to make it work. And then I rewrote the book about just live into it from your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Then one thing I missed in the bio is I've had 3 near misses with cancer and over 33 surgeries. Polio taught me how to be quiet and still and see the beauty in everything that was close to me. Blindness taught me that you don't have to have eyes to see. And with your body, I call it full sense awareness, sensory awareness.
Yeah.
Your hearing is 1,000% better. Your touch is 1,000% better. Your sense of smell is 1,000% better. And I didn't overcome that until I was nearly 12 years old. So I had a lot of time just being in the light without really seeing anything that was in it. If you were up close to me, I could see you. if you were far away from me, you just looked like a Christmas tree to me. Everybody looks like some kind of beautiful lit up Christmas tree. See lights and colors and auras and chakras. I didn't know how to define that or what that was, or that not everybody saw that.
Right.
I did know that it brought me great joy. It made me feel centered in myself, and that I had spirits and guardians and guides that were always coming in and out, along with angels, to check and communicate with me. So even when I couldn't see, and even when I couldn't communicate as a very young child, what was happening, I had source energy that was serving me to move through it. And it's a lot easier to go through those things when you're a child, because you really don't know that it is a bad thing or a label.
You have nothing to compare it to, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And then by the time I got to the cancers, well, by that time I was in my 30s, and I knew what was going on. And I was scared because I was on the other side of the world, and I was shipped out of the country I was in to another country for medical treatment. My 2 children were left behind in Indonesia, and my husband was even in a different place.
Wow.
So that's alone. And I went through that 3 times in a foreign country. And when I finally overcame it all, I thought, I am going to live every minute, every second from a different place. I also had 3 near-death experiences, and one that I didn't remember that my parents told me about after. And in those near-death experiences, I learned that we are a thread in the field of infinite unity, and we are connected to everything that is.
Yeah.
And I promise you, on the other side, I don't care what race, religion, creed you come from, lack of or there of faith, all there is love.
Yes.
Judgment is a purely human construction. Over there is no judgment. And every single person goes to heaven.
Yes.
Believe me, I vetted this. When I went over the first time and I learned this, first time I learned all there was with love. Second time, I learned that we are born to be calm and to create calm and love and peace. And that's our job as human beings, and we are failing it. Right. And so I said, are you telling me that Hitler went to heaven? Are you telling me he's here with me in this space? And they said, absolutely. There is no judgment. He had his place in the evolution of humanity, and humanity changed for the better because of it. And he was the victim soul that chose to be the bad guy. Now, when you look at that through that lens, it kind of freaks you out, right? And then you go, okay, all right. Also, all of those beautiful souls that we knew as beautiful souls had other lives that were tragic or trauma or victims or the bad guy. We all have multiple lives as human beings. We all have multiple choices to grow our soul in amazing and dynamic and powerful ways. And my journey is just an example of what steps I needed to go through, my life lessons to bring me to the point where I could teach this here now. Without those challenges refining me, I would not now be able to define myself as a coach and a healer and a teacher. So they're blessings. Absolutely.
And I believe we have those opportunities almost every day. These invitations come to us. Some are frightening, and then we can choose to be enlightened. The other invitations, I say, are intimidated and intrigued at the same time. So something like a friend saying, you need to have a podcast, Gina. Okay. For multiple times, I wasn't in the right place or space to have a podcast. And then when I moved and was in the right place, and at that point, my brand had shifted to Exquisitely Aligned, I was like, yeah, this would be a podcast, but it was intimidating. I've never done a podcast. What do I need besides a microphone? Right. And, how is it going to look? But it was also intriguing. And we have those opportunities all the time. We're given those, little nuances, whether it be somebody, a friend, or an illness, pushing us to a place or a space where we have the ability to say yes or no. And I'm so delighted to know that you said yes every time. I'm going to see the blessing in this blindness. I'm going to see the blessing in, being treated for cancer while my family is somewhere else, and not letting that become you becoming the victim, especially when you're a mom, right? Those kids are watching us. Our spouse is watching us. The neighbors are watching. How is she going to handle that? What is she going to do next? Is Donna going to come out of the house with a smile on her face, or is she going to look angry? You know what I mean? I don't think you've ever looked angry, but so it's such a blessing to hear that you've been able to come out and make those choices and be in that space. And when you were talking about judgment, I just finished an article on judgment, and I feel like judgment sometimes comes from a place of other people having fear of, is Donna going to leave us when that next book hits the bestseller, format? When she gets that title after multiple times writing as an author, is she going to leave us behind because we're not good enough, or is she safe putting herself out there? We love her so much. We don't want anyone to say something negative. So there's these different ways that people, I think, come to the place where they judge us. What have you experienced when you put yourself out there, as far as, because I'm a firm believer in love. I think we're supposed to live love here on earth. I think that we were created in love, by love, and we are to express love in everything we do. And if you don't feel called to do something, then you say, no, it's not within me, because you're not doing it in love, right? If my neighbor asks me to pull their weeds, I don't want to say yes, because I know I would not be having fun and feeling in love doing that. If they ask for something else, I'd probably be like, sure, sign me up. I'll help you 2 days in a row. But I know that pulling weeds is not my thing. So what you said is just so brilliant. Let's speak about judgment first, then let's go into love, because I'd rather spend more time on that. But can you speak more towards judgment and how you see that as a human thing and so forth?
One of my downloads, very important, the one that launched me into living my life in alignment with this principle, is the calm principle. And I learned that every word that we say, every sentence that we make, every letter that we string together has its own unique energy. That's why language is so important. And I know that for me, from my experience, living from a state of calm means being in coherence with the field of infinite unity and the energy of love. So how do you create coherence? You have a mental, physical body, and you have a spiritual, emotional body. And when you bring those two bodies together in heart-centered awareness from a place of calm and coherence, you create value in everything you do, say, think, be, give. Calm is the ability to have clarity, communication, choice, cooperation, and coherence. It's about being aligned with awareness, attention, alignment, and taking action. Mm-hmm. It's about listening, leaning in, learning, living large, laughing, and again, loving. And then you have to find meaning in what you're doing. It has to be meaningful, mindful. It has to be the energy to manifest. And from that place of calm, you can truly manifest miracles, big, little, small, and everything in between. When you are not in calm, you're in the ego mind alone. And your ego is wonderful. It's not a bad thing. It just wants to keep you safe. That's its job. This is my person. My job is to keep him or her safe. However, what the ego does then is judge. And when you're in a place of judgment, you can never have calm and coherence. You're in a state of incoherence and chaos. You're in the state of evaluating others, a person, place, or thing, as good or not good for you. That's a place of judgment. When you're in judgment, you can only create problems. When you create problems, your ego jumps in to save you again, and it gets deeper.
It's like
and
a
then
cycle,
you compromise your values, right? It's an infinite loop. And the cycle repeats. And now you're in management.
Yeah.
And management, you're in one of four major states: shame, blame, guilt, or fear. When we're on the heart soul map that I was talking about, where we're in calm and coherence, we're finding valuation of ourself, others, or the situation. We're in a place of non-judgment. We can create soulful solutions. It's why I named my company Soulful Solutions, because I know that it's not a miracle. It's a choice.
Yes.
And it's heart-based, and it creates cooperation. And when you create cooperation, the cycle repeats, and you are able to manifest. And when you manifest, you are knowing yourself, you are growing yourself, you are flowing like a beautiful river, and you are glowing. And when you shine your own light, you draw like-minded, similar lights to you. And the lights that don't resonate at that level, they fall away. Because you are redefining the space of your being. You are now a human being. I mean that very sincerely. You are either now here, and you're now here a human doing, or a human being. My experience of being a human doing for a lot of my life was that you do and do and do, and you just end up with a pile of doo-doo. It's not fun.
Or exhausted. I've seen people, I'm very energy sensitive. So I'll walk past someone and I'll say to my husband, oh my gosh, the energy there is like, and we had a situation recently with somebody dear to both of our hearts. And I said, I think this is going on. And my husband's like, oh gosh, no. And sure enough, a few days into it, the veil lifts and the truth comes out. And, it breaks my heart. And I would guess you probably feel the same way when you see somebody who's not living in that calm space, not prioritizing themselves. And like, I was just, with a beautiful woman who was talking about, planning. And I believe we have to plan time to, have that quiet space or whatever fills your cup. For me, it's being outside in the sunshine. And I find that Cleopatra, my German Shepherd, if I don't take the breaks that I normally do, she will usher me from behind my chair to the kitchen and then out the door to go in the yard to sit outside. And it's so funny because the first time she did it, I was like, why are we out here? Then the second time I was like, oh, you're telling me I need to get up and get some, sunshine and sit. And I like to pray or meditate and take a break from the computer because I know that I don't want to be harried or scared or just frazzled, And the other thing I was going to say, when you're teaching about, like, when we're in that form of judgment, I think it's having awareness to just stop and say, did I just think that? Or did I just say that? You know what I mean? And be able to take a moment and say, why did I have that emotion? Why did I feel like, I'm judging somebody who I love or somebody I adore, or even somebody I don't even know? Where did that come from? Because I think when we have that awareness, we can stop and ask ourselves, why did I feel that way? Maybe I didn't sleep last night. Maybe I booked too many things on my calendar. And so I love that. But yes, calm and love. And when you were talking about the vibrations and shining that light, I like to say shine unapologetically. That's the name of my ebook. And I believe that we're here to light the way for others, not to help them and change what's going on around them, but by leading as an example and shining our light from our heart center. with our voices here, like on this show, with your books, with all the different ways in which you work with clients and so forth. And so I'm really glad you brought that up. And I had a conversation with somebody recently that I would like to share on that speaks to what you were talking about, Donna. You had said about when we shift to that energy level or vibration. Forgive me, I can't remember the exact words. That the
heart
other
soul map.
Yes, that the other things kind of dwindle and fall aside, but the right people start showing up in like, huge masses of right people, and or even if it's just one right person, right? That better than 10 wrong people that are here to bring you down. And I had a conversation with somebody recently, a gentleman, and he said, I don't know, all of a sudden, like all these people are coming out of the woodwork. And I said to him, do you know why that is? And he said, no, I really don't. But it was to your point that does happen. And that's when we know we're in our flow. And that's when I think we want to say, you and I want to say cheers to the person listening that, yes, that's, celebrate that moment and stay there and be thankful and grateful. So Donna, what would you say has been, one of your most defining moments? I mean, there are so many on your bio, but was there one that you would say is like the most just, and it today, right? So maybe 5 years ago you would have picked something else, but is there one that you would point to today?
I just gave a talk called Failing Forward.
Yes.
And because I believe that failure is a divine opportunity to create true wisdom for yourself and others if you'll only lean into it. You talked about the books, and I've been writing as one of the authors in a compilation series called Women Like Me. And there's women from all races, creeds, religions, thought circles, and they're telling their stories of transformation from some very dark and desperate places in most cases. And there's a theme in each one, like, there was a theme on grief, and there was a theme on your most important lesson and what you would tell your younger self. I set what I thought was an outrageous intention. I don't set goals. I set intentions.
Yes.
And when I set intentions, I declare them as already done. I write them down. I am. People had been telling me for 50 years I needed to write a book, and I never did write that book. And so last year, after hearing many, many more people say it to me, I wrote my I always do my New Year's Eve goal list, and I write my goals down and I declare them as I am. And they're here on my desk on the side where I look at them every day. So for last year, my goal was, I am an amazing, best-selling international author. 4 days later, my phone rang. And it was another lady named Julie Fairhurst. And she said, I just have to know. She lives in the same province as me, only, 2 hours away. And she said, I just have to know if we're related. And I said, I don't think so. Is your husband British? And she said, well, it's my ex-husband. He's not British. I said, well, no, my husband's British, and he doesn't have any family here. He's the only one in Canada, him and his children. And she said, oh, okay. She said, it's funny. She said, my brother-in-law's name is Frank and his wife's name is Donna. And I thought, oh, okay, that's a coincidence. She said, anyway, why I'm calling you is I would like to invite you to be an author in my compilation about this series. Yeah. And you only have to write a short chapter, blah, blah, blah. And I think that was the smallest one I did, was Your Greatest Lesson at that time. And I said, okay, great. And I just poured it out and I did it, and it was in, and it was a bestseller 2 months later. And we did that 4 times more. The fifth time we did it. And I was so excited because this was the one that I really was really juicy about. And I was so excited. And, I don't know if other authors do this, but you get the book in the flesh, right? And you take the book and you're holding it in your hands and you're looking at the cover and you're going, this is so beautiful. And you rub it over, and then you open the book and you see your name and you see the page in the chapter. And then you just take a big breath, big smile on your face, and you open to your chapter and it's not there.
Oh.
And so you go back to the front of the book. We say, I must have got that wrong. No, page 51. Yes, there's my name. There's my title. There's my famous quote that pertains to the chapter. And my chapter's not here. And the lady next to it, her chapter's not here either. 2 chapters out of the middle of the book have been missed in the printing. And I have just ordered 150 books. And they are due to arrive because I am gifting those books to an organization called Women in Business, Penticton Business, and they in turn gift some of the books to women who would benefit greatly from them. And I am supposed to give a talk in 2 weeks and present these books. And I call Julie, I call the editor, say, there are 2 chapters missing in the book. She says, that's not possible. We did a double edit. It's all been checked. It's verified. I said, Julie, open the book. Have you opened the book yet? And she said, no, I just got mine. Open the book. She said, oh my God. Oh dear God. It's 2 of you are missing. And I said, yes. What do we do? And she said, well, all I can do is refund your money and ask for a reprint. You're not going to get the reprint for probably 2 months.
Yeah.
Oh, what am I going to do? I'm in this speaking gig and it's huge for me. And now I'm going to fall flat on my face because the whole book and everything I'm supposed to do with this is dead in the water. And so I had to admit I was in shame, blame, guilt, and fear for about a microsecond. And then I thought, no, there's a way to make lemonade out of this. I don't know how. I'm just going to turn it over to my angels, my guides, and my guardians and say, bring it to me. I don't care if it's in dream time. I don't care if you drop it as hail out of the sky. Just bring it on. I need something. The days ticked by and nothing was coming. The week ticked by and nothing was coming. 2 weeks and 1 day, I'm there and I'm thinking, what am I going to do? And my angel said, just write it again and stuff it in the bloody book.
Oh.
So I printed out the chapter 55 times and I took the 55 books and I put the chapter in the middle of the book. And then I gave a talk on failing forward. Those ladies were so inspired to create freedom from failure.
Right.
They still got the message. It didn't matter if it was in that book.
Right.
Right. So sometimes you're going to fall on your face. Sometimes somebody else is going to trip you. It's no fault of your own. You just have to get up and walk the walk and talk the talk.
Right.
And if you believe in yourself and you believe in the power of choice, and that it's a choice whether to cry and whine and wail or put your big girl panties on and go forward.
Right.
It's a choice. And the minute you make that choice, in comes the peace, in comes the calm, in comes the coherence. And it doesn't really matter whether the choice is in perfect alignment with everybody out there. Right. It has to be in alignment with your soul energy. It has to feel good and right and juicy for you. If it doesn't feel juicy, if you're not getting that orangeness on it, from that sacral creative center, it's not the right thing to do. Take a step back and wait. There's more to come.
Right. And I think oftentimes what comes is bigger than what you were expecting, right? I mean, listening to your story, I think those 55, I think you said they were women, could see how brilliant you are to take something that could have been like a sour, like a lemon, and you're like, hey, you see that my name is here. You see that my quote is here. You see that I'm here in the, my table of contents, page 51, and, here it is. And I see that example as so much as being shining unapologetically. What a way you lit up the room to all of those women who probably then went home and told who knows how many people. Like, that'll stick in their mind forever. I'm a visual person. I don't know if you are also, but
I am.
as a visual person, to have that visual of a book with pages and, the missing pages put right back in a different way, shape, and form, but in the right timing, but handed personally from the author. I mean, I think that's just brilliant and a great way to show women, like, no, it's our choice to how we're going to appear in the world, how we're going to take what, like you said, something might trip you up, right? And there are times where mistakes happen, errors, things get looked over, machines, right? Maybe the machine deleted a few of the page, whatever. I don't know where it happened, but you know what I'm saying? That we have to find, I like to say, because my yoga background, we have to be flexible and
Yes.
find a way to, like, take that, what happened, and give ourselves the space to be flexible and look at all the opportunities. Which choice do I want to go with? Do I want to go A, where I go down a rabbit hole of being angry, upset, livid, whatever? Or do I, think of, okay, like you said, 15 days later, and there you are, and it worked brilliantly. And I think that oftentimes what I try to tell my children is, failure or things not going their way might be an opportunity for a different blessing, for something to show up that you never dreamt of, that who knows, maybe they come back and say, we're going to print your own book, where you're the solo author, whatever that is, for a company to come back and help you. So that is brilliant. I am going to ask you, Donna, I like to always I have to put it in front of my white shirt so you can see it, but from the tin, Opening to Possibilities. These are journal prompts, contemplation, and conversation starters.
Oh, I love it. Nobody's ever pulled a card for me in a podcast. I love it.
So these I designed a long time ago. I think it was 2017 when they were released. So I'm going to just shuffle the deck for a minute. They each have a flower on them and a word. And then on the back,
I'm getting buzz energy all over me.
There's a statement and 3 questions. So I'm just going to shuffle, and then as my finger is going over, you tell me when you would like me to stop, and I'll read the card to you. Okay? So I'm going to start now. Senses. Your 5 senses accentuate the bliss of life. Number 1, how does smell enhance your taste? And this is so perfect for you. Do you not think so? I'm thinking
absolutely. There are no accents.
Every time someone says stop, or even those who have their deck at home and they pull it, it's always the perfect card for what we speak of in the podcast. So how does smell enhance your taste? What role does taste play in nourishing your body? Which sense makes you the most alive? And you can pick any one of the 3 or answer all of them. I'm going to leave it up to you.
Smell enhances my taste. I am particularly aware of that from being near blind for nearly 12 years of my life. I could taste the wind. I could taste the trees. I could taste a flower from the smell of it.
Yes.
And when I couldn't see it, if it was far away from me, if it was 3 feet away from me, I couldn't see it. If it was in my hand, I could see it. I'd already seen it through the sense of smell and taste. My greatest gift is clairaudience. I have very clear spiritual hearing. I hear great distances and multiple voices all the time. And I've had to learn to tune my radio station, my spiritual radio station, up and down to block out some of all the voices sometimes, because there's a lot of people on the other side, a lot of spirits that have incarnated and haven't incarnated that are vying to get your attention at all the time. And it's the degree to which you're willing to open your heart ears and listen and take it into your heart and trust the information that you're getting. Good, bad, or indifferent. Sometimes you're getting warnings. Sometimes you're getting blessings. Sometimes you're saying, take a pause. You're not listening.
Yes. That is so, so true. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yes.
No problem. Go ahead.
No, I'll be quiet.
It's an occupational hazard. I do it too. It means you're excited.
Right, I do. And you see, I have my arm still in the immobilizer from my shoulder replacement, but my hands get all excited. Yes, I definitely agree with you. Did you want to continue on that? I'm sorry.
I don't know how to talk without my hands. So it's the way it is. I remember particularly when I got my first glasses. They were Coke bottle thick. They'd done a surgery, an implant surgery on my eyes, and I got my first glasses, and they were Coke bottle thick, right? And I remember at the age of 12 walking out of the clinic with my mom for the first time with these glasses on place. And it was actually frightening. Everything was up close. It was right in my face. That beautiful, blurry kind of sunsetty melding colors that I saw was no longer senses like smell and taste and hearing. It was actually completely visible as it was for the first time. And I remember coming to the crosswalk in the center of downtown Calgary, and the traffic was whizzing by, and I was just, all my senses were overwhelmed because I could see, the song, "You Can See Clearly Now." I could see clearly, and it was frightening. It was actually frightening. Yeah. And I had to stop. And my mom said, "Just breathe. Just breathe, Donna. You'll get used to it."
Yeah.
And I took a breath and I slowed down and I relaxed my body and I dropped my shoulders. Because my mom used to say, shoulders back, chin up, go forward. And my dad used to say, you can solve anything. Just feel about it. Think about it. Just feel about it. That's why my mom used to say my dad was real as dirt. Nothing gets realer than that, right? So in that moment, I remember looking down at the curb, and the curb was like about 6 inches.
Yeah. And
it looked like it was like a canyon to step down on there. Right. And that first step into seeing reality at depth shook my world. It showed me that there were multiple realities, and that the reality I'd been living in for 12 years of my life no longer existed. And I remember stepping off that curb and then ripping the glasses off. Yeah. And just, okay, I know how to do this. And I crossed the street. And then when I got there, I put the glasses on and I looked at the curb. And again, it was like I was stepping up onto a mountain. There are so many mountains to climb in our life. And some are large and some are small. Some are a step down. Some are a step up. As long as we recognize the mountain and we know that we're an able climber, God gave us everything we need to climb any mountain that's in front of us. Or to sit at the bottom and contemplate for a while. Sure. We have the space to create whatever we need in the moment. It's bringing that alignment and awareness to it before we take action. Right. And then when we take action, to take action from a heart-centered awareness and love. And the question I always ask myself in every situation is, what would love do now? Right. What would love do now? And if you're not let's be honest, sometimes you can't feel the love for a certain person, place, or situation. I was at that state in one point in my life, and I would remember I was going up an elevator. I was going to see somebody I hadn't seen for a long time who was dying and had asked to see me. And we had parted in very, very bad, heartbreaking terms. And she was a former best friend, and she wanted to see me again because she knew she was dying. And I was going up that elevator, and the elevator was opening, and I was saying a prayer. Dear God, please let me be love. If I can't be love, God, then please let me be grace. And if I can't be grace, then please let me be quiet. And if I can't be quiet, then get me the hell out of here. And the elevator opened, and there was her husband, who, by the way, happened to be my ex-husband. And I took a breath, and he embraced me. We hugged each other. He took me in, and I was able to sit down with my best friend of many, many years, 20 years, and connect and be whole and love for both of us in a traumatic transition
Yeah.
back to friendship
Mm-hmm.
from a place that was really not friendship.
Right. Yeah.
So that taught me the grace card, the grace
Yeah.
principle.
Yeah.
When you can't feel the love, you can always be grace. You just have
Yes.
to ask for the space to create it
Yes.
and
And
then pause.
yes. And I think it, again, like I loved you said, alignment, awareness, and action. And those are, I always like when there's 3 A's or whatever,
Mm.
but those are so perfect. And I think having, like, from the yoga mat 20 years ago when I started teaching, it's awareness, oftentimes we're so busy. That's a 4-letter word I tell my children I don't want coming out of their mouth. That we're so busy, we lack the awareness, but we have these choices, and it's been so delightful to give a voice to all these different things, especially to love, because that's a vibration I like to live in, and I think we all have that opportunity. I believe we are all have love floating through every cell of our body. I believe it's the essence that we wake up in and go to sleep at night in. And you're just so fascinating, so brilliant. And I think you said you feel like you've lived 7 lives. I forgot where I wrote that, but you're a wealth of knowledge. I love the way you're able to bring the information in such an easily digestible way, Donna, because sometimes that's not an easy thing to do, right? The way we feel and express ourselves, maybe not everybody can understand, but it's so understandable and so brilliant. And you've given us visuals today, like the book with the pages in there. They might have been a little taller, but they were there, and they were there because they were meant to be there, and maybe they were taller because they should be, given that bigger space and that awareness. So it has been such a pleasure. You're so delightful. I am so thankful to have you today, and keep shining your light, because you are exactly what the world needs. And for that, I am ever grateful.
Oh, thank you, Gina. It's been such a joy to be here and to share your light and to lean into your voice and the people that you are reaching with your message. And I wish you the best future. I know that there's great blessings coming to you and that you're delivering them too.
Thank you.